Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of American Snippets. I am your co-host, Barb Allen. I love speaking to all of our guests, but I have to admit, I get a little happier when I get to speak with a woman who is somebody of influence and inspiration in this country. I'm constantly surrounded by menfolk in my life. I love them all, but I really have a little extra appreciation when I get to speak to a woman. So that's one more exciting thing about today's guest, Charlynda Scales. She is a veteran of the United States Air Force, and she is now the CEO of her very own company, Mutts Sauce. Her resume, if you follow her on LinkedIn, hop on over there. It's so broad, so extensive. I had to just send it to myself in an email. I mean, her leadership skills, her job descriptions, out of this world impressive. Charlynda, I don't know how you found the time to sit down and speak with us today, but I so appreciate that you do, taking a look at everything you have going on in your life. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting for me. Look, I wanted to talk to you guys. So
yay. That's
awesome.
We love finding people, who kind of dig what we do and want to be a part of it as well. It's exciting for us. So can we start kind of sequentially? I want to talk a little bit about your service first, or a lot about your service if you want to talk about it. I know a lot of women veterans, and they all have their stories of, different stories of struggle and challenge and all that. But you were in leadership positions, several leadership positions, which is even more remarkable. Can you tell us a little bit first about what drew you into military service?
Sure. So my family's last name is actually Farrell, and the Farrells have served for the last 4 generations. We're a 4-generation military family.
Wow.
And so every branch except for the Coast Guard, but we're still recruiting those kids. Look, we're watching out for which one will be next. But that was kind of the thing. Like, as you're growing older, you're getting close to 18, the conversation is now happening of which one of you grandkids is going into the military. It's my grandfather talking to us because he was in Korea and Vietnam.
Wow.
And pretty much all his sons went in. And for me, because my oldest cousin, he went to the Marine Corps, but he got hurt. And I was like, well, he did a great effort. And they're like, nope, that doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Who's next? So,
oh my goodness.
I said I would do it if I could find a way to go to college too. And that's where I learned about the ROTC program, where they would pay for college and then you would serve afterwards. So that's the track that I went through with the Air Force. I went to Clemson University, and I commissioned in 2004 and started out Warner Robins, Georgia. I was in Georgia, and I loved it. I mean, I'm from Tennessee, so for me to have my first base down south, it was great. Yeah. Really great programs down there. I was on the Small Arms program, the deputy for the Air Force Small Arms program, which is like pistols and general officer weapons and grenades. I went on to
I love it.
C-130s. I went to C-130s, did C-130 modification programs. What you're seeing on the news right now is really nostalgic in kind of a terrifying way for me, because I was the program manager of the Air Force's firefighting program. So the wildfire out in California that's going on now, I was fighting it with the same team in 2008.
Wow.
So yeah, it's hitting home every time I turn on the news right now.
Yeah, you can relate to what those people are doing, and as part of you kind of reliving your experience doing that. Do you want to
I remember I was a lieutenant, I was 23, and Governor Schwarzenegger was there at the time, the governor in California, and he was like, California is burning down, help. So you have to ask, if you can't do it with the support that you have in the state, and you have to augment for federal support. And that's what we did. And, they're like, do we have a firefighting program? No, we have one. Oh I'm down there, this young lieutenant, just tinkering away at this program. Like, oh my God, I am writing articles for CNN, updates every single day. Every news station imaginable is asking the 4-star for an update, and I'm writing them for him. Wow. So, yeah. And I have to attest that those men and women are out there 24/7. I hardly ever left the office. It was just, it consumed my life for months. So
I bet. What, and that is a good reminder, because as we sit here, you know, focus on our day and our task, it's good to have a reminder that pretty much every day while we're going about our business, stressing about whatever we're stressing about, whether it's these men and women out there right now fighting the fires or somebody else, you know, in combat or what have you, somebody is like in a hell of a situation right now.
Someone's putting it on
and
the
putting
line.
it on the line for us. Yeah. So
it keeps me humble, you know, it keeps me humble to keep that in my mind. But yeah, that was my last year in Georgia. I moved on to Boston. Went to Boston and worked on some security forces that's like Air Force cops and helping them get all the gear that they need to go out and do what they do. I worked for the commander of, it used to be Electronic Systems Center. It was like a 3-star command as his like commander's action group chief. So it's basically the right hand man. I'm the captain doing everything that he can't do.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
That was a humbling thing too, and a really great opportunity to see, you know, a strategic thinker.
Yeah. Did you learn, you know, were you able to learn from his style of leadership and management?
Yes. And what I've noticed, a lot of your general officers are introverted.
Yeah.
They're very task oriented, very focused. And I've had one of my supervisors say, I'm not a people person at all. Don't deal with people well. And that's why all of my captains are extroverts, because you're going to deal with the people.
Okay. But, you know, that's good that they know that about themselves, that they then equip themselves.
So that was a good leadership lesson. Because it's like, be upfront about what you're not good at. Yeah. You know, and find a solution for it. You don't have to just make yourself good at it. It doesn't come natural to you, but you need to find someone or fill your circle full of people who are. Yeah, because you're still responsible for providing that. Yeah, the campaign, we would put on his little note card, it's so-and-so's birthday. I was like, happy birthday. And it would look like, got it, you know. They're like, oh my God, he said happy birthday. But that was important. You know, he knew it was important. So, yeah. So that was Boston. And then I went down to DC for a little while, did some staff work, came back to Boston for a little bit. And then my last base was Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, where I'm at right now. I finished out my active duty career at Wright-Pat. And there you are. And here we are. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, that experience there is like somebody's entire career over, you know, decades really. And you just seem to have kind of crammed it all in. And now you've moved into something else, which is a huge, maybe daunting challenge for some people, but you're just like, oh yeah, man, you know, I'm going for it. I love it. I love it. And in between, you've had some also incredible things. I don't even know where to go first. I'm like, look at that. Look at that. So we'll go back, because you were also a runner-up in 2016 Miss Veteran USA. Yes. How does that come about? Can you describe for us how you became involved with that? It wasn't for me waking up saying, let me do this. Everything is just a happenstance. You know, I don't wake up saying, let me tick this off of my bucket list. It's, so I had a good friend of mine who was like, hey, look at this BuzzFeed article that they had for 2015. These girls are tough as nails. And they're like, this is not a pageant. Because I was like, I don't like pageants. I really don't. Yeah. And I was like, it's not a pageant. They call it the P word. You're not even allowed to say the word pageant. So they were telling the interviewers about how you're an ambassador for women veterans across the country. Okay. All of them that are still living, World War II, you name it. And you're helping support a charity, Final Salute Incorporated, which houses homeless female veterans. I was like, I can get down with that. Yeah. I want to help my sisters in arms. So I applied thinking it was like this short process, maybe. It was like a year before you even made it to the finals. Yeah. You had to campaign the whole year. What did you have to get votes? Well, you had to raise money for the charity.
Oh,
You're doing a lot of fundraisers to build awareness for, they call it a silent epidemic, because women veterans are not as, they're not the ones that are going to tell you that they're going through something bad. They're not going to tell you, I can't find a way to make it work, or I'm sleeping in my car, or they're not going to do it. Nope. And they're not as willing to stay in a shelter because most of them have children. And so they don't want their children's, lives to be jeopardized or not safe. So they do this thing called couch surfing, where they stay at a friend's house, a family member, but the federal government does not recognize that as homelessness.
It's crazy, right? It is. I had some firsthand experience with that, and I was a veteran service officer in my county, and so I had some experience with that. It's very frustrating, right? Mm-hmm. How were you able to help them?
So what they do is they have a couple of programs that provide a safe and home program. And then basically one's a financial support and one is temporary housing. But the emphasis is on temporary, because we don't want you to get in your mind that this is a forever situation. This does not define who you are. You're a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine. You can get back on your feet. You have what it takes to get back on your feet, and we're just going to give you what you need right now to do that. They do this program called Stand Up for Women Vets, where they give them clothes that are donated, work clothes that are donated from all over the country. They give them headshots for LinkedIn so they can get a job.
Awesome.
All kinds of coaching. Yeah, it was really great. So you campaign throughout the year. Of course, you're getting ready for things like a push-up contest. So I was hitting the gym, and I was like, you don't realize veteran means you're not working out like a maniac like you were on active duty. Like, I had to go back to the gym, and I was like pinching places I didn't even know I could pinch. But yeah, the push-up contest, we had an interview by a panel of prominent women veterans in the country, which I walk in, I'm like, I see these women in history books and stuff. Like, that was a very humbling part, when they're looking at you in your face saying, you represent me.
Wow.
Not screw up.
But no pressure.
No pressure. And then we also had a military history test. So you had to be at least adept in every branch, a little bit of military history. So it was not strutting.
No, no swimsuit competition. Yeah.
Yeah, the dress and the crown that people see on the website was basically, it's the day of the contest is a celebration of womanhood, that you're not just, a soldier, you're a woman, and we're going to celebrate that, and you're a queen, Yeah. So, yeah, that's what it was like. Sometimes I think those pictures kind of confuse might get people confused about what our mission is, but I think that's why the ambassadors were out here to tell folks that it's the real deal.
Wow. And so you were doing all of that while you were maintaining a job and a life outside of that. And that sounds like that was close to a full-time job at certain periods. So
I tell people I survived 2015, 2016 just by God's grace, because there's just a lot of challenges along that way. I was getting married. I was trying to move. I was, in between jobs. My company is in Ohio. I had moved to Washington, D.C. and kept the company in Ohio.
Wow.
So everything that I was doing for free, I had to find some way of paying for people to do it that I trusted.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a lot.
Daunting. So what advice can you offer from that experience? Anything that you learned or guidance that you may have for somebody who's not obviously in the same exact path, but maybe feeling overwhelmed and trying to manage all of these enormous events in their lives, and maybe saying, I just can't do it, stressing out or turning to unhealthy coping mechanisms?
I would say do what you can, and don't be afraid to open up to other people. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think a common thread that I see with a lot of entrepreneurs is they're like, I got it. No, I don't need it. I'm all right. Just fake.
Yeah. But their Instagram page looks fabulous in their
Right.
face. Yes.
Like, you need help right now. And so I've learned that experience was, I cannot run my company from Washington, D.C. I have to get help.
Yeah.
So I hated that I was forced into that. I wish I already had a team in place before I left. But I was trying to put together a team as I was moving. So that was a challenge. Yeah.
And did you wound up with a good solid team?
Oh no, I went through.
You're like, oh no.
No, I fired a few people along the way, but now, the team is really solid. We're awesome. We're a well-oiled machine.
Good. And so let's talk about your company. Your company's Mutt Sauce. And when I hopped online to get the background and see all this, when I first came across you on LinkedIn, just a sweet, touching story about how you came to love the sauce and all that. And can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it's humbling for me. Even after all these years, I try not to think about it too hard, because I'm like, man, my granddad was awesome, man. He had that level of passion for something that he would not stop until he got to what he thought was perfect.
Yeah.
And I call myself the messenger. So Mutt sauce gets its name from my grandfather, Charlie Farrell, who had the call sign Mutt in Korean Vietnam. He was an aircraft mechanic. And aside from raising 5 children in the military and taking his wife and kids around the world, he was passionate about this creation. I mean, he really just hated a bunch of condiments. He thought that people were so wasteful. He's like, open the fridge. People will probably have like 10. They're not even using but 2 of them. The rest of them are like expired.
Yeah.
They don't even know how it got there. So it was his frustration. But a lot of, look at any company, any invention is born from a problem that someone has to solve. I'm going to solve this problem.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to make something that I can use all the time. And he would not stop. When my mom told me, and my grandmother, they're like over 100 times, easily over 100 times. He would just make it, dump it out, make it, taste it, dump it out, until he got to what he thought was perfect.
And obviously he had written it down, or he'd be like, how did I do that?
So, 1956 is when he had settled on the recipe. And from there, I mean, my recollection from childhood was just like the mason jar that would have the sauce in it. But I couldn't even eat it because I was allergic to pepper. So my granddad made a little jar for me, and he would take out the pepper.
Aww.
So I wouldn't be like by myself, everybody's giving me. But yeah, he was just super passionate. And so he had passed away. He had gotten lung cancer, unfortunately, passed away in 2005. And then about that time, he had just gone to my commissioning. He was the first person to salute me. I was the first officer.
Oh, how awesome.
Yeah, that was a memory I will never forget. But he went there, did the commissioning. He probably passed away 6 months after that. And then I learned in 2013, while I was out here at Wright-Patterson, the mom kept it a secret. She said, he actually gave you something. Because everybody, people pass away, and sometimes they give stuff away.
Yeah.
I was always the grandkid who never got anything. Like, I had to work for everything. I'm like, my cousins, the guys, they're so spoiled. Y'all get car. You got an allowance.
Not so much. Yeah.
I had to do chores for mine, or I would get paid for my grades.
Wow.
So if I made an A, I got like $3. So he always made me work for stuff. It was never given to me. And I was like, that's a little backwards. I'm the girl.
Yeah. He expected more from you.
So I was very shocked that my mom handed me an envelope, and it was the original recipe in his handwriting.
That's so cool.
And I was like, this was a lot. It was super overwhelming. Because I'm like, this was everything to him.
Yeah.
And he never gave me anything. Now he's giving me something. So I was like,
Can you picture him like smiling, putting it in the envelope, knowing, oh my gosh, she's going to be so surprised.
yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
it humbles me so much.
Yeah.
It humbles me so much. And I said, the best that I can do is find a way to share this with people. Cause that's what he would do. He would just put it in like those little glass milk, the milkman would come and
And
he'd put it in the little glass things and share it with people. And I said, I'm going to share it with people. I'm going to learn how to do this. So that's how I went to score.org, which is an organization that teaches entrepreneurship. I said, my granddaddy gave me a recipe. I want to put it in a jar, name it after him. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to translate that to you want to manufacture a tomato-based product.
Oh. And you didn't know that when you walked in.
Right? I was
Yes.
like, sure. And so they taught me the steps to do it. And they said, we move at the speed of determination. However determined you are to get this done is how fast you'll have a company and a product.
Wow, that's awesome. So how many people were on that or in that board on SCORE? Like how many people did you actually sit down and meet with? Two?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And those two people were able to guide you through all of that. That's amazing.
One guy's name was Bob. My recollection, I can't remember Bob's last name, but the other guy's name was John Suter, and he was a retired veteran. He's I think he's Air Force, but he was about my grandfather's age. And for me, I was like, it was doing everything for me. He didn't realize how much it was doing for me, how much it was doing just to have him sit down with me every week and, he'd give me his little memories when he had a manufacturing company after he got out of the military. And it was really great. It was great.
So then what were some of those first steps that you had to take? Because it's one thing to say, hey, I want to have a tomato-based product, right? And I have this recipe, and then they sit down and talk to you. But what were like some of the very first things that you had to do?
Well, it's something I tell a lot of people that when I do consulting or in mentoring, I say, you just got to start. Yeah. And sometimes that just means file your business license. So, once you file that business license with the name of it, you have a company, you own a company.
Great.
And I think just having that piece of paper, that business license, so empowering. I'm like, I did it, that was step one. And then it was, okay, what does it mean to have a tomato-based product? You have to have something that's safe for consumption for, by other people. So you have to have it lab tested. You take, and you have to do legal paperwork. So I'll back up. He said, this is a secret recipe, and I'm going to tell you that you cannot copyright a recipe. You have to do trade secret agreements. The whole thing about Coca-Cola locking their stuff in a vault is true. Wow. You have to physically lock it away, and anybody who goes around your recipe has to sign a non-disclosure.
Wow.
Nope such thing as copywriting a recipe.
All right.
So if you ever hear that, they don't know what they're talking about.
Okay.
But so I sat down with my family because it was very important. I knew that there's generations before me that enjoyed this sauce. So all of his 5 children were still alive. That was the other thing. He skipped all of his children.
Oh my goodness.
And half of his grandkids and no explanation. 2 of my uncles are chefs. So I was like, oh my God. What's happening? I was like, how does this conversation happen? Mom's like, it took me 8 years because I was trying to figure out how to tell my brothers and sisters.
Wow.
I said, so I just took the one team, one fight mentality. This is my approach. And I said, this is a family recipe and we have to work as a family to protect it.
Awesome.
I went down to Tennessee where we all grew up to my hometown. I had a stack of non-disclosures and I handed them out. And so 30 members of my family signed legal non-disclosures.
Nice job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Wow. Surprised. Those are some great instincts there and how to handle that. I don't know that I would have navigated that the way that you did.
Told them I would find a way to help them be a part of the company. And they also signed up as independent contractors. So if they ever wanted to do work and make money with the company, they could.
Awesome.
So they all had options, and they've all done stuff, festivals, things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. So now you have your company and you got that non-disclosure done, but you have to have some kind of capital to invest to get this all done.
So I had these big dreams that were very not thought through at the time.
Those are the best kind.
My dream was to have a hot sports car when I made major. I said, when I make major, I'm going to put on, I'm going to walk onto this car lot. I'm going to buy myself a BMW with cash.
Nice dream.
And I'd been saving since I got in the Air Force for that car. And that was what I used to start Mutt Sauce. So I bootstrapped it with my BMW.
That's great.
And I tell people right now, like, what do you drive? A Honda. I drive a Honda.
So do I. Yeah.
Honda. Yeah. I'm proud of my pay for a Honda. I'm just going to rock it out till the wheels fall off, because every time I look at it, I feel like I made a better decision. You know, it reminds me I made a better decision.
That's another great example and lesson. And it also, I imagine, kind of ties you in a little deeper to that commitment. Like, look, I mean, that's a big deal that you traded that one in for the other. And like, you just burn the boats behind you, right? Like, there's no going back. You're going to make this work now. So along the way, I know that you have entered some contests, and you already won one significant contest and got yourself a heck of a mentoring session.
Wow. Yeah. So Bob Evans Farms.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, they started this program, Our Farm Salutes, and it's more than just helping the veterans. They were going into community and doing a lot of work in the local community. They're in Ohio. They're based out of Ohio.
Convenient.
Yeah. It was for me. I didn't even know at the time that they were right here. The headquarters is right here. But I had gone to this conference last year called the Military Influencers Conference.
Yep.
And I had gone with Molly Mae Potter, who was Miss Veteran America the year that I did it. She's like, this is a great opportunity for us to see how we can help and get connected now that we're flexing ourselves as veterans. You know, we're trying to learn what an influencer is. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And once you come back, you're in this Facebook group that does peer mentoring. And that's when I learned about the Bob Evans contest. And they said they're going to help out the next batch of veteran entrepreneurs. And I got the call. I was downtown DC, and I just like burst into tears. I know everybody walking by me was like, what is wrong with her? And I'm like, Damon John just called me.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, this New York number. I answered it. It was like, Charlynda. I was like, yes, it is. I'm like, this is Damon John. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, hold on a second. Because, you know, you think Shark Tank and all this stuff. Like, these people, they're
no joke. Yeah.
They're busy. They got a lot going on. The fact that he personally called all three of us.
Wow.
And then when you get there, you get to spend time talking to him. He's like, so what do you want to know? That was the weirdest thing. He's like, what do you want to know? I'm like, are you serious right now?
Everything. I want to know everything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. I just need like a little plug into your brain, like download all of it. But he gave me the advice. He said, stop trying to be everywhere. And I was like, excuse me? He's like, I see you. You're trying to deliver to South Carolina. You're trying to deliver to Tennessee. He's like, you're a small business. Like, you're small but fierce, but you're still small. And he said, you can do a lot just by focusing on Ohio. He said, how many college students know about Mutt sauce? And I was like, well, I have not really done campus tours. He's like, until every college student is like, I can't deal without Mutt sauce, until every mom, at least 1 out of every 3 moms are confessing that they use it.
Yeah.
But everybody in that state needs to be claiming that as their sauce. Because that's what FUBU did. become successful.
Nice.
It was LL Cool J who rolled up in Harlem. He was an up and coming rap artist. He's like, I need some fresh threads. He was the best person in Harlem. And he didn't say, not New York City,
Right.
not New York, Harlem. And
that is great.
The people said, you need FUBU.
That is, and you know, when somebody says that to you, it's like, oh yeah, of course. But it's crazy, right? Like how the most obvious, like clear path is sometimes so crowded and buried under all these things.
Yeah.
And for somebody to come in and just sweep that stuff away and say, there, you're like, oh.
It's like, it's do step one. He's like, just focus on where you're at. It's kind of like what is it? Colin Powell, bloom where you're planted.
Yeah. Yep.
Bloom where you're at. Like, stop trying to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be good at that one thing where you're at. And he said he went from 200,000 to 200 million. He said all it takes is one.
Yep.
He said the reason why they didn't give like a huge grant is because they wanted you to be mindful about how you're spending your money, because he thinks that the downfall of a lot of veteran entrepreneurs, even entrepreneurs, is overfunding.
Yeah.
You get too much money, you ball out of control. He's like, you look at the Starbucks line when payday is like so far away and there's nobody because they're like coffee, $6 coffee, that's dumb.
Yeah.
You know, I got to pay my bills. But then the day they get paid, guess what? The Starbucks line is out the door.
Wow.
You got all this money.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't even faze you. He said, and that's how they think when they make business decisions. I got tons of money. Who cares if I paid $14,000 on the website?
Wow. Super interesting. So where is Mutt Sauce now?
What Mutt Sauce right now? So we're humbled to find out that we're finalists for the Sam Adams Brewing the American Dream contest.
Love it.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is amazing because we just want to tell our story and we're ready to take that focus, like you said, make sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Take your money and make sauce. I've learned, it was like, manufacturing is expensive.
Yeah.
We just spent $50,000 on this last run from what we've been able to build up to so far. I was like, and this is still trying to tackle Ohio.
Yeah.
You know, we're spending a lot of money just tackling Ohio, just making sauce, and we rebranded. So now we got all these like new bottles.
Love it. Very fancy.
And introduced gluten-free. So we introduced the gluten-free flavor because there were people who said, we want to join the Mutt Sauce family, but we can't because of celiac. I had to learn about how serious that was because I thought it was like a fad, like something. I'm like, okay, this will pass. No, it's not. Okay. But everybody deserves to be a part of the Mutt Sauce family. So what we're doing right now is we're focusing on the brand. We're focusing on getting our pitch ready. We're focusing on telling the story so we can get votes, because I think only 3 people get to go down there to Florida. And so it's the Military Influencers Conference in Orlando.
Okay.
3 people are going to pitch to Sam Adams, to the CEO of Sam Adams. And he's going to choose one of them to mentor the rest of the year, like the next calendar year. That
is huge.
That's big.
So do you have any idea how many people are in that contest right now, or how many finalists there are?
So I don't know how big the pool was that they narrowed it down from. I heard it was big, but there's only 14 of us. And then we're doing votes for the next 30 days.
Okay.
And then the top 3 are going to go to Orlando.
Awesome. So what's the website people can go to for that?
Muttsauce.com, MUTTSAUCE.com.
And that's where they can vote for you?
Oh, you go to go to Street Shares, actually. So it's Street Shares, which is an organization that helps provide funding for veteran entrepreneurs. Go to streetshares.com, and there's a little icon for Brewing the American Dream. Or you can go on the Mutt Sauce page because we put the link on there too. Okay.
We're going to blast that out several times a week to everybody and start offering incentives to get involved and get out there and start voting. And we're going to see, how many people can get behind you in this cool sauce. And then I'll put it out there. I'm going to order, do you sell them by the case?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I'm going to order 2 cases of those. And anybody who rallies enough people to get like 100 votes, I'm going to send them out a case of your Mutt Sauce. So we'll put that all up on our Facebook page and our Instagram, and we'll see what we can't do to get that. And then maybe I'm going to taste some live and let everybody know how delicious it is. Are there any of them have a little bit of a kick?
Yeah, we got ghost pepper for you.
Oh my God. My kids will laugh so hard. I basically cry if I have like a little piece of jalapeno. I got to smother it in sour cream. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go right to ghost pepper and I'll do it Facebook Live and I'll get people to start voting. I mean, anytime somebody votes, I'll escalate it to ghost pepper or something, if we get enough votes.
Won't hurt you. You'll be all right, Barbara.
Oh, no, I've survived worse. But yeah, I think that'll be super fun. So we're going to get on that now because you only have 30 days left. Is it 30 days left or is it like 2 weeks left?
I think there's
okay.
maybe less than 30 days.
Yeah, so it's less than 30 days. Like 18 days or something like that. All right. All right. So we're going to get going on that. So you have a lot of insight and ideas and they seem to kind of find you or flow to you. Where do you find, is there any one particular place that you found that you are when these like ideas to do something come to you more?
Well, I just try to keep myself open to opportunity. I'm very vocal about my desire to help people. I mean, this whole journey, even Mutt sauce for me, is a journey of self-discovery and humility, really. I tell people if I have a superpower, it's just humility. I mean, there's nothing beneath me. There's nothing that I won't do. Anything that my team will do, I will roll up my sleeves and be right next to you. I just, I'm overall just grateful because it's bigger than me. And I think some entrepreneurs get to that point where you just have the light bulb come on. You're like, this is so much bigger than I even thought.
Yeah.
My faith, I tell people that I think of my relationship with God is like a chess game. And if he's sitting across from you and you move your little piece and that's your free will to move your little one move. Okay. But he's playing, but he's 50 moves ahead of you and he's moving everything around you that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
But you just got to trust that either way, it's all for the good. You're going to be all right. Yeah. Nobody's really going to lose. You're just going to
learn.
You're going to learn.
Yeah.
Learn. And but that keeps me humble is like, I know this is bigger than my one little move. I know there's a lot going on.
Awesome.
We just had Britt Harris. I was just sending out packages and sometimes we get requests to give packages to people, like a care package. Right. And we kind of ramped it up a little bit this year. And all of a sudden I got a note from a friend of mine, Gina Elise, and she said, there's a young lady who needs a care package. She lost her husband. Her name is Britt Harris. I said, okay, you don't have to tell me too much. Just give me the address, when we sent it out. And I was just perusing through Facebook one day and I saw this lovely documentary about Britt Harris. She was a Gold Star wife, and how her husband's comrades had done this great tribute to how they were dedicated to helping raise her baby because she found out she was pregnant.
I saw that, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I didn't know all the details, but watching the documentary, I just kind of sat back and like, see, this is what I was like, this is bigger than selling sauce. We're trying to bring people together. We're comforting people. We're helping people get married. Because I had we had a lady who said she couldn't cook and she was nervous because her family was so judgmental.
Oh no.
Her fiance's family was so judgmental that she didn't know what she was going to do. And I said, just put some
That's hysterical.
I was like, just put some Mutt sauce on it. And she's like, that's all I did. I said, if you can get some chicken and put it in a crock pot and slather some Mutt sauce on it, leave it in there a few hours and come back.
Voila.
Eat some frozen vegetables if you have to. And so she was, what I get is the fulfillment of the stories of people's lives, because Mutt sauce is not like this tastes good. There's always like some memory that they have to share that went with it.
That is great. And who would think, right, when you're walking down the grocery store aisles and you see these tomato-based products, right, that they would be a story behind all of them like that. I think that's so great. That's so great. So, I mean, you've we talked about some of the mentors that have been in your life, the SCORE, Dave and John. And I see that you also mentor for the Girl Scouts. Yes. So how did you get into that? And what drives you to talk a little bit about the importance of being a mentor and not just receiving mentorship?
Yes. It makes me feel good that the things that have happened in my life, I'm able to reciprocate. I was a Girl Scout. I think I went in as a daisy. Yeah. I went in as a brownie. I didn't get to be a daisy. I went in as a brownie. But I loved it. I was like, man, this is great. I felt just a sense of freedom going out, camping, getting my badges, but you're learning these like life skills. And I appreciated by the time I graduated high school, I had life skills that the Girl Scouts had given me and empowered me, so to speak. So I got my gold award senior year. My gold award project was a United Cultural Awareness Club because I grew up in a very rural town in Tennessee called Cookeville. And there were so many little sub-cities who had merged into this big high school when I was a freshman. And they all had subcultures that were not used to being around each other.
Okay.
Anything different. So we had fights. Oh my God, we had so many fights. I had to shut the school down.
What?
I was like, what year is it?
Yeah.
I don't even know what year it is. So I created the club so you can kind of take the fear out of people who are different. Your differences are not what should divide you. They are what should unite you.
Yes, please.
And, So we created that club. We had like the highest number of members of all the school clubs besides like 4-H.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And after that, I just dedicated myself to giving back to those young girls, just pouring everything I learned. And I went down to Tennessee and just spoke at their national leadership conference for the girls and pinned on their gold award.
Aw, that's a full circle moment there. Yeah, great. So I'll ask the last couple questions. I'll let you go. I know you got a jam schedule. We'll start with the easy one, easy-ish. If you could reach back in time, say, till you were 18 and tell your 18-year-old self something, what kind of nugget of advice would that be?
You don't need anybody's validation.
Good. That's a lot of people are still trying to figure that one out. Yeah. That's like one of the top 5 lessons I think people need to get.
Yeah. I as much as I was doing, I was still suffering from that need for people to validate that I was, cool, that I was worth being a friend. At that point, it was like nobody wanted to go to prom with me, and I didn't understand why. I was like, am I not like pretty? They're like, no, you're just so busy, like really intimidating. I was the intimidating girl.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. No, I'm so cool.
I'm really cool. Yeah.
Everybody.
Did you wind up getting the prom date?
I went out with a guy that a lot of girls wanted to go with, and it ended up being Well, yeah, but it ended up being a bad experience.
Oh, no.
You asked for it. You thought you got something great, and it turns out wasn't so great.
Uh-oh.
I remember dropping him off. He didn't even remember me dropping him off at his house.
Oh, my goodness.
He had a little couple.
Yeah. What a lovely experience. I'm so glad I had you relive that. You're welcome. Yeah. You can call me anytime. I'll ask you that stuff.
You know how it's like stereotypical, like, I need to go out with the quarterback,
Yeah. I couldn't get a prom date. My brother's friend finally took me because my brother made him. It was terrible.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I never got that great prom experience either. All right. So we talk a lot here about the American dream. We 100% believe that it's not a cliche. It's alive and well, no matter what people are spreading through the country, trying to make us believe otherwise. What does the American dream mean to you?
Oh my gosh. The American dream for me is being able to have opportunities and to know without a doubt that I can have these opportunities, and that when I talk to a child, then I'm not lying to that child when I say that you are in the land of opportunity. You can be anything. You can do anything. And not feel like a gut,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well,
Not like Santa Claus is real, sweetie. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But, this is a place where you're not defined by how you started. How you started is not how you have to finish.
Yeah.
Whatever economic status that you had and your parents had, you can turn it all around. You can be the first officer. You can, start a company.
Yes.
You can do these things. I love telling children, I believe in you, and yes, you can do it. That I will always leave them with that, because I'm surprised at how many children do not hear that.
Yeah.
Simple words that are very powerful.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
That can make a huge difference in how a person at a young age moves forward. Just knowing one person believes in them and sees them as a person. So I think that's awesome. How you leave them with it. That's a good one. Last question. If you could call anybody up today, one person, has to be a living person you've never met before, that would spend the rest of the day with you, and you could ask them anything, talk about anything, learn from them, who would that be?
Oprah.
All right. That was quick.
I know it sounds weird.
It doesn't sound.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, because she spent part of her life in Tennessee, and just that whole, like, she had to find a self-validation because there were so many people telling her that she can't do it.
Yep.
And having to fight against that stigma. To be fired from a newscasting job and then go on and own your own network. Yeah, I like
great.
that aspect of, hey, don't tell me what I can't do.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. That's what I like about Oprah. That's like, there's like that is what I want to talk about. Like,
great.
Let's have tea and look at your garden and hold.
And tell me everything you know. Awesome. I thank you again so much for responding to me so instantly. That doesn't, always happen from super busy people. So I really appreciate that. And B, thank you for your service. And then thank you for what you're doing now to go back and be an example in the world and show us how to carry on a family legacy. I mean, there's nothing about your story not to love. And we know our community will love it as well. And are going to get behind you and vote. Tell us one more time where they can vote for you.
You can go to Street Shares and click on the link for Brewing the American Dream and input your votes.
Perfect. So thank you again. You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do.